Greetings, viewers, listeners, friends, supporters, customers, and former and current members and broader stakeholders of Cometa. The year 2022 is our 25th anniversary year. We are dedicating the entire year to reflections on our journey. We would like to invite a number of our founding members, friends, supporters through our Cometa Global Online channels for a conversation that we will stream via our Cometa Television Network, which is our streaming channel. And this interview will be published and distributed widely by our social media platforms. We aim to stream these conversations weekly for the entire year. And all the guests and interviewees will receive this as a gift from us so that they can keep it as a memento for their entire life. And this conversation is very well crafted based on a series of questions that are aimed to bring out the best out of these I call them young men and women, but they are no longer young. They are my leaders. They are my mentors, believe it or not, co-mentors, the people that I go back to reflect on the years when we came together and established this organization. We do respect the fact that many of them have moved on to establish their own organizations or join many other corporates and continue playing key role in those organizations. So today we have our guest, our founder member and a friend and a stakeholder. Prince, welcome, my brother.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you for the opportunity. And I'm very much excited to be in your platform and my platform since I'm a child of Cometa.
If I told you then that one day I will be having this conversation with you, and it will be 25 years after we had started, you will have said, Chairperson, you are very ambitious. I will see. What do you feel? How do you say it? What is going on right now as you reflect on those days?
It's amazing because in some instances you will be ahead of us and you will be confused. You say, what is the chairman doing? Because I remember we wanted you to buy a status, a football status. We were pushing you when we were starting Cometa Africa band, and we went to Tom's Equipment to buy the music equipment. We were all saying, no, why don't you buy a football status? But as a leader, you were able to guide us and say, listen, guys, Cometa is much more vast than just football. And at the time, we were like, no, we want to get us Vodacom. At the time, it was still Vodacom before it became ABC Mexico. It was still Vodacom League, and we wanted the status. So it's just incredible to see how the organization is sort of evolved.
So, yeah, absolutely. I remember seated with you and having such conversations. It was just reflections. But for those who don't know Prince, I see we're getting some reflection. I'm not sure if there's any equipment that you are not using that is switched on your side. I'm getting an echo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what might be happening, but I think somebody was trying to give me a call, but I'll try and see if I can get a better. Is it still coming through?
Yeah, no, it's better now.
Okay.
I think it's when I talk, I'm not sure whether it's mine. Let me just quickly turn off this laptop. Maybe it's the one that the feedback.
Yes, when you talk from your side, I hear some echo.
You get some echo. Okay, cool.
Yes. But now it's better.
Is it better? Okay.
Now it's better now.
It's bedtime. Okay, great stuff.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know you, who is Prince?
Um, Prince, my full name actually is Mawungu Prince Leshiba. Um, I'm from Batterport, which is in the Soutpansberg, Makado municipality in Limpopo province. It's a farming community. And then I went to school there. My first school was in the farms. It was a missionary school owned by, not owned, but started by NG, Turk, which was Afrikaans, uh, predominantly Afrikaans church. And
Mm,
then later on went to a nearby village called Mambuka because of the farms we didn't have uh, uh, the high school or primary that gets to grade 7 today or grade 9 today. So um, after that, I then had to go to boarding school because it was a bit difficult staying in the villages, coming from the farms. So I went to a boarding school, got Mopani. After Mopani intermediate school, I then went to Milam College, which was in Pulukwani. It was a private school, so our parents, even though coming from the farms, were trying to improve our situation. Then after which, I then came to Pretoria. I still prefer technicum then
yes.
to study. Yes, yes. So basically, just in a short version, that's me in a short version in terms of where I come from and my schooling up until I go to technicum Pretoria.
Where do you live now?
Where do I stay now?
Yeah.
Yes, I stay in Centurion.
Mhm.
I stay at Fletchfield Estate.
Yeah. Good.
Yes. Yes.
Do you still remember how you came into contact with Comesa?
Yes, Manelo was always somebody that was a permanent feature there at the clubhouse, and you are somebody that was a personal assistant to yourself, and he was playing many roles. So he asked me to say, "We see you guys have got a soccer team here. Can't we work together?" And then I came to know Cometa through football, and that's when I came to you to know the organization.
So that was the real Ellens, right?
That's correct. Real LX, and then we combined them with Corporate Park United because of Cometa was obviously identifying all projects around the community to uplift and provide better coaching and better mentoring. So Manelo approached us, and then by so doing, we had access to better facilities and better even knowledge in terms of football. But there were many other programs. Maybe we'll touch on them, like going to learn German in Johannesburg, getting exposed to the German Chamber of Commerce, all those things. There are so many things. I don't even know where to start. So the conversation goes up and down because there are so many things that football, through football, Commerce managed to teach us. It's just amazing.
So it was development through football indeed.
Yes, yes, because of I remember when you also will teach us sometimes, you will take us to the classes, the mentoring, how you behave. My first email, I always tell people this, my first email, I got it from Cometa. I didn't have an email address when before I joined Cometa. After joining Cometa, that's when I got my first email address. So it just
Mm,
shows you the basic uh, things you were teaching us, and later on, those things were very, very much important.
mm. Wow, beautiful. Which program specifically will you say that it stands out for you? I know as you mentioned, we had quite a number of programs. Not all of them had to do with football, but which one will you say stands out as the one that really shaped your thinking and your way forward?
Funny enough, document development.
Yeah.
Whenever I was around you, you will be doing organograms, structures, you'll be doing constitutions, you'll be doing um, operational SOPs, standard operational procedures, and that fascinated me. And I will sometimes take the copies. I'll take the
Yeah.
copies home and read them, and I became very invested in understanding how do you develop your own constitution for an organization, whether it's a NPC or an NPO or even a political organization. So I became so much interested in the material intelligence and material development of the organization. For me, that was something that was because you didn't hide it from anyone. You showed everybody and you say, guys, this is our new whatever, this is our new logo. So branding, document development, um, that was just for me data, even the way you handle data in terms of your memories, pictures, it just it was just mind blowing for me. That was one program which I don't know how others viewed it, but for me that was so powerful, and that is why it was so easy for me. Even today,
Mm.
it's so easy for me to do things because of what I picked up there.
Mm. I remember very well. I always will regard you as the intellectual one. That will be more than just interested in football, but ask very difficult questions. So I could see that that was really something that was fascinating. So you mentioned the fact that one wasn't hiding anything to anybody. So will you say that it depended on one's interests in terms of what one was to learn at the
100
organization?
100%. I always pride myself and tell people that I was the
Mm.
first chairperson of Semtina Foundation. And at that time, I didn't know anything about being a chairperson. And you said to me, sometimes you throw somebody in the ocean and you just let them swim. Before they sink, you help them. And I had to go and study, understand hey, I'm a chairperson, but what is a chairperson? So at that time, I didn't deserve, to be honest, I didn't deserve the position. But you deliberately did that because of you were preparing us and cooking us for things that we didn't even understand. I didn't even know what it was. You said simply, Prince, you're going to be a chairperson of my foundation. I was like, okay, chairperson. No, but now I understand what you were doing because you
Mm.
were throwing us in the spaces which made us uncomfortable and made us to go and inquire more and make us to become better.
Mm. Yeah.
So those, those,
Um,
all those,
yes.
all those, all those programs were just you. I think because maybe you did psychology and all of those things, you could read our minds and understand us, and then you could say, okay, this one he seemed to be in this direction, this one seemed to be in that, and then somehow, somewhere, you were always looking at maximizing our potential. So
Mm.
for me, is the intellectual property that we took from it. I can talk the whole day about the things we learned at Cometa. I can take the whole day,
Yeah.
you know.
Just take us through your career journey since you then left Comesa, not 100% leaving, but having to go and pursue your career. Just take us through that. What happened until where you are now?
No, what happened is I remember I sat down with you. You said, okay, Prince, you're not working. Let's work on your CV. I did my CV and I put a lot of things there. And then you came and said, oh, this is not the way you put it together. So I know it might be mundane information, but I just want to give people the background, how much intimacy involved you were. I did my first CV and then you said, no, 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 no. This information you have is wrong. Do it this way, do it that way. After which, I then started putting my CV around. I got the opportunity to go to Corosel, which was in Wagefield then. Uh, when I came through there, I came through as a general worker, even though I was already a trained production person through Technical Pretoria and then later TUT. But then the mentality from Cometa shone through because what I then did, I approached the quality manager there. I said, listen, I don't want to be a general worker. I want to be in quality. They said, no, we don't. appoint from inside. But because of the way you developed us, I was then given a chance to be a quality controller, then became a quality technician, become the quality team leader. After which, in the same space, I went into design. I never did design before. I never trained officially to be a designer, but I was taken and I was part of the now being a structural packaging designer. Uh, Now doing all sort of developments in terms of innovations in the packaging space. After that, they said, listen, we want you back in the factory. You go back to the factory, becoming a production supervisor where you are responsible for almost more than 100 and something people in a shift. You are looking after machines worth millions. Maybe those machines you're looking at easily 150, 160 million worth of equipment that you are in charge. You make calls to say, I want this, I want that, this needs to happen, and all of that. And that's through the leadership of Cometa development, whereby now you understand that those 100 people are not the same people. And then after that, they said, no, listen, we want you somewhere else. We want you to go and help with our technical services department, which basically takes care of your technical drawings, takes care of the technical equipment in terms of your dies and stereos, or the other call it printing plates, your ink manufacturing in terms of the your compounding and mixing. And then that department is very important because it supports the production side. And eventually, from just being somebody who's supporting to eventually leading that department and then being a services manager to make sure that you channel the resources. But not only that, you participate in process modeling in making sure that the machines perform optimally, and you are always continuously in the innovation front to ensure that every new innovation in the industry, you have got it on your fingertips, whether it's in Australia or Japan, wherever, you bring it back in and you introduce it to the guys, and you make sure that you lead the training and you support the factory to perform optimally.
Wow, this is quite very interesting. And for those who don't know what Carousel is the name of the company. Ne?
Yes, Carousel Group. Yeah.
Just give us a little bit of insights into what they are about, what do they do, and how big is it?
Carousel Group is the fastest growing packaging company in South Africa. We are currently number one when it comes to corrugated packaging. Before, there were main players like your Nampek and Mondi and them. Yes, they are big. Mondi is still big because it's international. But in terms of our growth, we are now a very big player in that space in terms of the corrugated packaging. We've got plants in Cape Town, we've got plants in Durban, PE, we have got plants in Pretoria, we have got plants in Joburg, Rodiport, we've got footprint everywhere. We are, I think last 2 years ago or so, we were a 3 billion or 4 billion turnover company. So per annum. So that's how much big the company is.
Wow. And your position currently there is what?
No, I'm a services manager there.
You are a services manager?
Yes, I'm a services manager. So basically we support the production side with technical support. So this engineering, and then there's us. We have to ensure that all the necessary equipment needed to produce whatever job that needs to be produced is there. In terms of your technical drawing, your graphic design, and all of those things, we have to make sure that all those things are there for the operators electronically and physically, and they must be to standard. They must be able to perform whatever that is intended to perform, and ensure that we maintain them. So we operate very much like an engineering department in terms of our support structure. So even when we have the downtime, you get a job card just like the engineering department, and you have to make sure that you do your 5 whys and your fact finding and your root cause analysis to ensure that you don't repeat the same mistakes.
So are you looking after one particular factory, or are you looking after all the factories in the country?
At this point, I'm looking after one plant, but I've been made the center of excellence for the group. I am going to be in charge of um, making sure that in terms of our ink consumption, because it's one of our biggest cost pushers, I'll be in charge of the group. So I'm at group level in terms of the center of excellence, in terms of making sure that we develop systems to manage application, your impression printing pressure, to make sure that you don't overuse, because that is where you lose or win against your competitors. Because of, if your resources are not used efficiently, you end up not competing in the market. So I'm being made the center of excellence for the whole group in terms of ink usage for the whole group. But in terms of managing services, I'm in charge of the Gauteng plant.
Hmm. So if you look at the way you joined the group, it wasn't really something that went through formal process. You just went there and you asked for the opportunity, and you were given the opportunity, and I guess then you learned on the go. Now, if you were to do this again through the formal channels, what would you say is the right qualification for you to be considered for that? And what process would you follow to be given the opportunity?
I'll just start by saying, when you look at packaging technology, it is one of the, I'll say, a hidden industry, particularly for the black children. If you go to any high school, I don't think you will find any kid who will say, I want to be a packaging technologist, or they'll be exposed to that space. So if I wanted to be in this industry, I'll make sure that I become a qualified artisan in printing space, board, both from the board machine to the printing side to the design side. But luckily for me, as we were well developed and then well mentored, I ended up doing a diploma in packaging technology and an advanced packaging diploma as well through the Institute of Packaging Technology South Africa. But like, to answer your question, I would have gone and done all those courses to prepare me. But like what you're saying, I had to learn everything when I'm inside, and then also recognize that to to boost my knowledge, I need to go through formal training. That is why I end up doing your packaging technology diploma and the advanced packaging diploma in order to support my the other qualifications I had, like quality and production. Because packaging technology has got so many facets. For example, just to mention one thing, the legal side of things. You can't just put on your eggs, for example, to say eggs can cure headache. That you can get arrested for that. So there's acts that sort of control your labeling, and then how you label medicine, how you label food, how you label drinks. So these things are things that unfortunately not many kids are exposed to, or they are sort of being mentored around.
Mm. So, what is your boss saying are your strong selling points other than your technical functional expertise? Why so much trust on you when you have a
I
conversation with him? What did he say?
Cost and estimating. I'm very good when it comes to making sure that my budgets are I'm very, I've got very strict control systems that I develop, that I learned through the discipline at Commerce, but at the same time, having done cost and estimating with production operations management, I then have very strict budget control. So whenever there's a budget, I interrogate it, I understand it, I then look at my targets and then make sure that operationally I don't easily go out of my budget unless there is a very valid reason for that reason, for that particular sort of getting out of your controls. So my financial controls are very strong.
Mm. And what about your people relationships? How are they experiencing you?
I'm one of the best. I'm sorry to blow my own trumpet, but uh, even when people don't want to do something, let's say, for example, the workers feel like they don't want to do something. When it comes to my department, it's easy because of the relationship I've built and the communication channels. And then people will ask me why these guys always agree when you talk to them to do something. But it's because of I feel is one of my strongest. In fact, I always score very high when it comes to that. When it comes to main management, and then again come back to commerce because we deal with different. The other one is drinking. The other one is a ZCC member. The other one is different, and then we deal with all these people. And the environment commerce that put us in helped us to shape that kind of skills and be able to deal with different people. And when you bring it now in the workspace, you are able to say, oh, this one reacts badly when I am too hard. He responds more to you approaching him this way. This one responds this way. Yes, you still have to be disciplined. You have to still be fair and firm when people transgress, but you need to manage people individually because you can't manage, it cannot be the same barometer for everyone. And that is due to Cometa's development.
Am I right to say that this is the first and the only company so far that you have worked for?
Yes, I did do my practicals at Revlon, which Revlon South Africa in Isando, of which I'm very much grateful because it's cosmetic science. And then what I learned when I was there was that everything is taken so seriously, particularly when it comes to traceability. So you find that if you are producing a roll-on, from the batch, from the person who made it, from the raw material, and everything. It's so serious because if somebody gets infected by that roll-on and they charge or they try to sue the company, you need to be able to do step backs. And then it's one of the biggest lessons I got there. But moreover, safety. You spilling of 100% alcohol because you've got a big tanks underneath the plant with 100% alcohol, which is very much highly flammable. So I also learned a big deal at Revlon. So Revlon was where I did my practicals, which I would say it was my first official company. And then Corosil was my then next company. But I always list Comets as the first organization that taught me about working.
Wow. And if you project your career journey at Carousel right now, where do we see Prince 5 to let's just say 5 years from now?
Actually, that discussion has been happening a lot, and then I'm looking at going at group level full time because then you deal with different plans, different constraints, and different challenges in terms of the culture. Because if you go to PE, for example, and you deal with people in PE, the demeanor and the way people deal with things is differently. If you go to Durban, same thing, even though we're in the same country. And if you go to Cape Town, so my next step is to see myself that's in that space whereby it's already going to be happening with the center of excellence with the situation, but managerial level point of view, I would love to see myself in that space where I'm sort of working at the group level space because then you get exposed to different constraints and different challenges and also cultural differences, which only enhance your leadership as a person.
Yeah. I know, Prince, that you are bitten by the Cometa development bug, so much so that you have big ideas around your own initiatives back home in Limpopo. Share with us some of the ambitions of yours when it comes to development and enterprise and community.
I have to say, sorry to speak in your mouth. Thanks for that question, Chairman, because it's precisely because of Cometa that we are like this. Just to give you a background, I started the Prince Leshiba's Rural Sports and Education Foundation, which focuses on getting equipment for the people in the rural areas, for the young children, introducing them to sports which are seen as expensive sports like golf, like cricket, and also career guidance, and also mentoring in terms of behavioral patterns. For example, I remember you would take me to the Eden Vale indoor soccer, and you will say, Prince, when you drink alcohol, and you will teach me, you are not drinking yourself, but just explaining to me. You take me to a bar and say, you're still young, you don't drink, but if you drink, you get one beer, you drink one beer, you drink water, you go home. It's a discussion that doesn't happen in most black communities. But you had the foresight to understand the dangers of alcohol, to be able to talk to us about things like that. So, beside that, the Prince Leshiba Sports and Education Foundation, which is focused on the rural area, we have got the Butterpot Community Foundation, which is based in the farms. Coming from the farms, education, information is very hard to come by. So what we have done, we started this foundation to make sure that the people in the farms are not abused. They are not taken care, they are not taken advantage of by some of the farmers that don't have the best interest at heart. Because some of the farmers, they know people has claimed land or whatever. They try all the tricks in the book to trick people in the farms. And we are having those foundations to protect the interest of the people in the farms. Most of them are my relatives. Some of them are just like the residents. And we also have established the Vatraport directly affected community trust, which focuses on business opportunities for people in the farms, and seeing what can we discuss around economic development of people that are from the farms. Because being in Cometa, it taught us to share. You didn't have to show us what you showed us. You didn't have to teach us what you taught us, because you could have easily continued working in those international companies and be the great Sentima that you are and you were, and continue to fly to Dubai, fly to Nigeria, fly to Germany, and be a success on your own without worrying about anyone. But you taught us the essence of sharing. So that is why today it's so easy for me to volunteer my time in foundations and that. But I'll just leave it at that before we go to the business side of things. But in terms of the community work, I took it from Cometa because of the values you taught us.
It's quite a heavy load, what you have mentioned. When you're sitting alone and you are thinking of all this, what you are doing. I know my way of dealing with that load. I don't know whether you did copy how I dealt with it, but your own practical experience when you are sitting at home and dreaming about the changes that foundations like those will bring. You might even sometimes feel like, sure, I should be actually enjoying life. But at this young age, I'm already now doing big stuff. Have you ever had that conversation, and how do you deal with that self-imposed pressure to make a difference?
It happens all the time, Chair, because even my wife sometimes will be like, yeah, you are going to this meeting, you are doing this. But what I've done, I created a system that I saw you doing. So I've got about 6 diaries. And all these diaries, I write every morning, or at least daily. I'll look at points and say, okay, on the foundation, we are busy with the website. Okay, I'll call one of the person that is responsible for the communication to say, hey, listen, follow up with the website people. And then I'll go and check my company and say, okay, we need to discuss the issue of my accreditation. I have appointed people that are helping with the accreditation. I pay them, yes, but I realize that doing it myself, it will be too draining. So basically what I do, I become, every morning before I start doing anything, I go through all my 6 or 8 diaries and then look at goals for the day. And then for my website, I've got weekly plan, daily plan, monthly plan, and everything. So it makes it very easy for me to be able to be effective and not waste time wondering because of too many things. But to be honest, sometimes you do feel that pressure to say, why should I be carrying all the load of the people of Butterport? I get this farmer calling me saying, please don't do this. I get government people calling me. Can you help with this? But I understand that the company is very, very supportive.
So we're losing you there, Prince. I think we may have to log in and out because we are cut. Sorry, that interruption there. Let's see if we can connect with Prince back. So we'll give Prince some few minutes to come back. That was the conversation up to so far with Prince Leshiba. He is one of the founder members of Cometa, as he stated. He came into the organization through one of the community development football clubs in Elandsfontein. They used to call it Real Ellens. And that's where the journey started. After some time with Cometa, he went to do some practical work at Revlon here in Sandu. And then from there, he proceeded to where he is right now. Currently, he was taking us through his foundations at his rural home in Limpopo. I think we have Prince back. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Chair, I think there was a network issue. Apologies to the viewers.
Yeah, I was just recapping on what we have covered so far and indicated that we are at the point where you are sharing with us what you are doing in your rural communities. And we were enjoying your insights in terms of how you plan your day and how you make sure that you are able to cope with so many diverse interests. But I would like also to ask you, how have you engaged your current company about this community interest? Are they excited about what you are doing for your community, or is it not something? Is it
Very
something
much. Very much. They are very much supportive. Even my private companies, because we are supposed to declare. So when I declared, the group COO was very excited, supportive. So the company is very, very, very much supportive. They are even sponsoring. Sometimes when you need any help, they are willing to sponsor. They are willing to sponsor the programs. So I'm very happy that they are the kind of company and I'm open to them. And honestly speaking, it's been a blessing because they don't have a problem. Even when I declared that I've got my own company, even when I told them about venturing into business in terms of the training, skills development school, the manufacturing school, they are very much supportive, and which is a wonderful thing, honestly speaking.
That's great. I can relate to that because often people ask me, Comasa is 25 years now, which means probably you started it when you were still in corporate. I said yes.
Yes.
The key thing here was to make your employers aware of what you are doing
Yes.
and also
Yes.
manage potential conflicts of interest. And
Yes.
will you say that this is the advice that you can do things while you are employed, as long as these things that you're doing are not in conflict with what you are employed for, and you declare that interest with your company?
You know, you don't know how much I learned from you. The way you were so organized and declaring to your company and being open to them, it set the tone for everything because they can always say, okay, here we will have a problem. For example, when I tell them that I'm going to open an academy for manufacturing, little did I know that my company later on, they will want to open an academy as well. And they came into me and they were laughing. They said, no, Now you see you've got an academy, which means you are in competition with us. But because you were honest, because I didn't do it in the corners. I told them, this is what I'm doing. And then they signed it off. HR has got it in their books. Everybody knows about it. And I'm not even hiding anything. So honesty and transparency and declaring and hearing from the executives whether you are on the right direction or not is the best way to go about it.
Mm, mm. And then tell me, how has this success changed your life and your family's life here and back home?
Yeah, no, it has changed, like, where you stay, because of I've always dreamed. Okay, my dream was my uncle used to work at Silver Lakes, and I always wanted to stay in a place where there's a golf course. Where I stay, yes, it's not built with thing, but we have access to a golf course, which is a 9 hole, and it's got all those things. And then I still want to go and have access to even a bigger place than I have now. But it's all due to dreaming and all of that, that you can say, okay, my father had got a place in a place like this. I want to be better and improve where I come from and build better home back home in Vanda, but also here in Gauteng, have a better place and be able to send those kids to better schools. So it has been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
Mm. Am I right that your bigger dream is to see having a family business? I was looking at the list of initiatives, and I see that there is a family business that you are. I don't know whether you're conceptualizing or you're already introducing.
It's,
Tell us a bit
it's
about.
already it's already working. We have got agriculture in that because my wife is very much big in agriculture. We deal with pigs at the moment, and then some plantation. But she's also too much into logistics because I figured that if you want to be successful in business, you must also take your family along, make sure that they understand you. So when you say to them, I'm going to a meeting in Limpopo for business, they understand because of then you will conscientize their mind into understanding how business works. So that one, even the name was derived from our initials, and we put together and we come with the name called Matakaroli, just taking the names of the wife and the kids, and we put it together. So it's a business that we are all involved in, and we discuss it together. So it's exciting. But agriculture and logistics is the biggest one because of my wife is really passionate about that because I didn't want it to be always about me and about me all the time. So yes.
It looks like I'm looking at the future serial entrepreneur here, right?
Sometimes teachers say something in passing. One of my teachers, I ran a sponsor shop at the boarding school, and she said, "One day you'll be a very good businessman." And those words stuck with me.
Wow, interesting. So yeah, so that's Prince Leshiba. We have moved from the community work that he mentioned that was inspired by his time at Comesa, and we moved now to the entrepreneurship, which he's very passionate about, and he has decided that he wants to involve his family in this project, and even the name of the business it derived from the initials of himself, his wife, and the children. And when we lost him, I was just making a remark that when I look at him and listen to his story, I can see an emerging serial entrepreneur. So we hope to get him back and just conclude that thought. This program, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the 25th anniversary project brought to you by Comesa Global Online Channels. The purpose of it is to reflect on the journey the 25 years journey of COMESA, and we do this by inviting those who were with us at the beginning, somewhere through the journey, to find out what have they moved on to do and how the time at COMESA has influenced them in doing what they are doing. As you might have picked up from Prince, he was a football player, member of COMESA, but he was one of those that I will describe as being intellectual, very interested in the way we're doing things. And it does look like that has really influenced him to be doing what he's doing today. We started by him sharing with us what he's doing in his current company. Carousel is the name of the company. And I wanted to sum up by linking what he's doing in his community and in his private business with what he's doing at his company. And I did also wanted him to answer one of the challenging question, and which is, are you not finding yourself conflicted when you are employed and at the same time you run community projects in your communities and even running your own private enterprises? He did mention to me that that is not the case, because he's been quite very transparent and open about it. He has declared it at his company in HR, and he has shared his plans with his company, and everybody in the company is actually appreciative of what he's doing, and they are very supportive of it. We hope to get him back. The challenge is always the network, but we have patience to wait for him to come back on board so that we can finish the conversation. We are not in a hurry. This is his day. This is his moment to share with us his journey. My experience of him was that he was always very focused. He always wanted to learn, and he always action what he planned to do. No wonder he is making breakthroughs currently where he is now. When he comes back, I want him to share with us his wish in terms of continued engagement with COMESA, and also what does the 25 years of being at COMESA mean to him. And we hope that we will be able to continue on this conversation with Prince. I'm asking him to just dial back, and hopefully he will be able to join. We were almost at the end of our conversation, and let's hope that he's able to join me. Otherwise, most part of his sharing has been covered. I'm just asking him to log in so that we can conclude the conversation. As I indicated, that this is our 25th anniversary project where we're reflecting on 25 years of COMESA. As a way of background, we established COMESA on the 1st of August 1997. It started as a development football club. It grew into music organization, using music also as a development platform. And today we are a fully fledged human capital development organization, major focus on coaching, mentoring, facilitation, and networking. That's who we are. And as part of celebrating 25 years, we are reaching out to those founding members just to celebrate them, just to acknowledge them, and share with you what they've moved on to do. And as you have heard from Prince, he has really made headways. And looking at his youthful age, we can be guaranteed that there is still a lot to come from him. And this is not the last to follow on what he's doing and share with you and track the impact that we have made. At the end, I'm also going to be asking him to share with you his contact details, because the whole idea is that we should be able to connect with him and build contact, and hopefully there could be some synergies coming out of his experience. If you want to get hold of him, let me give you his email address as prince.leshiba@gmail.com, or you can get hold of him at prince@princewood.co.za, and he's available on social media platform. On LinkedIn, his name is Prince Leshiba. Leshiba is spelled Leshiba, and that's the same name that he has for his Facebook platform. And his Twitter handle is @PrinceLeshiba29, and Instagram handle is @PrinceLeshiba. It does look like we are not succeeding in getting Prince back, but I'm sure you have gotten the gist of what he's all about, and you have heard how COMESA has impacted on him. And at this point, perhaps it's appropriate that we end the conversation here. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you do get hold of Prince and explore some synergies. If you are coming from his hometown in Limpopo, you now know where he's operating from, and you can try and reach out. The more, the merrier. We are very proud here at COMESA to have had him as part of us, and we hope to continue engaging with him and partnering with him and his organization to change the lives of many people out there and grow our organizations even bigger to make South Africa a better country to live in. Thank you very much for tuning in, and enjoy your day further. Goodbye.